What if all 4 of the Jedi that went to confront Palpatine were still alive when Anakin showed up? That's our story for today. Hope you guys enjoy, and let's get right into it. Our story begins inside of a shuttle flying over the great Coruscant City, as Jedi Masters Mace Windu, Kit Fisto, Anakin Skywalker, and Saesee Tiin are flying across the city to commit the most treasonous, but most necessary, act of the entire war. They were going to arrest the Chancellor of the Republic. The tension inside of the shuttle was extremely high, as none of the Jedi spoke for a while, but all of them were thinking the same thing. Was it a mistake to leave the Chosen One behind? Windu was more sure of this decision, and as the shuttle landed at the bottom of the executive building, he looked to the other masters in complete seriousness, and Windu laid out a plan. He realized there had to be a reason that Palpatine revealed himself to Skywalker. The Chancellor has spent years grooming Anakin for this very moment, and so Windu knew now that they only had so long until Anakin shows up to disrupt whatever he thinks is going on. So Windu would tell Fisto, Kolar, and Tiin to wait outside the door. Anakin will be here, and when he is, they must stop him from entering. Windu said he will take on Palpatine alone, and Fisto spoke up, asking the question everyone was thinking: what if they can't stop Anakin? And Windu looked in the distance for a moment before saying they must have faith that Anakin will not do anything stupid. He is a Jedi, and his loyalties should lie with them. If not, then they must find a way to stop him, no matter what. And so the 4 Jedi moved through the halls, soon coming upon the doors to the Chancellor's office. The royal guards had been excused for the night, and so Palpatine waited, alone. Fisto, Kolar, and Tiin stationed themselves outside the door as Windu entered the office, igniting his purple blade and telling Darth Sidious that in the name of the Galactic Senate of the Republic, he is under arrest. And Sidious flicked on the recording device underneath his desk. This was a strategy he didn't expect. The Jedi were ready for Anakin's arrival, and so Palpatine was adjusting his plan by speaking right now, pretending to be an innocent man under attack for this recording. He said, with an innocent smile, "Why, Master Windu? What a pleasant surprise." And Windu's expression did not change as he replied, "Hardly a surprise, Chancellor, and it will be pleasant for neither of us." And so, Palpatine, pretending to be confused, said, "I'm sorry? What brings you to my office at this late hour?" And Windu told him, "I know who you are, what you are, and I'm here to bring you into custody." And Palpatine now said, "I beg your pardon. Last I checked, all I am is the Supreme Chancellor of the Republic that you are sworn to serve. I hope I misunderstand what you mean by custody, Master Windu. It sounds like treason. What charge could you possibly have against me?" And so Windu bluntly said that he is a Sith Lord. And Palpatine, his smile growing larger, said, "Am I? Even if true, that's hardly a crime. My philosophical outlooks is a personal matter, and last I checked in the Constitution, there are very strict laws against this type of persecution. So I ask you once more, Jedi, what is my alleged crime? How will you justify this to the Senate? Or will you Jedi traitors arrest the Senate as well?" And Windu was tired of this, telling Palpatine to go with them. And Palpatine screamed out, "Help! Treason! Traitors! They're going to kill me!" before switching off the audio recording and igniting his red blade. And now, the Master of the Order and the Lord of the Sith stared each other down, as Sidious told Windu he's been waiting a long time for this. And Sidious spun through the air, landing, swinging his red blade forward, allowing Windu to block it and spin backwards towards the closed door. The two of them clashed their blades together, locking their sabers against one another, pushing closer to Windu's face. Sparks were flying off of them, and both blades now seared into the door. On the other side, Fisto, Kolar, and Tiin waited, and they could now hear the sounds of battle inside. Saesee Tiin said they need to help Windu, but Anakin Skywalker said they must follow his orders and wait for Skywalker. Back in the room, Windu flipped backwards, narrowly dodging a strike that seared his robes. And so Windu discarded the top robe, deflecting a series of strikes from Sidious, kicking him in the face. Sidious stumbled backwards, wiping the blood from his nose, and he was still wearing a wicked smile across his face. Windu had never seen anything so evil. Even Grievous, designed to be a cyborg devoid of any light or humanity, felt less evil than Sidious did right now. They stared each other down until Sidious struck forward, his swings deflected as he spun around and kept pushing. He was pushing Windu backwards again, and Windu sunk deep into the pod, reflecting the darkness back at Sidious. And outside the office, the three Jedi looked to the stairs as now Anakin Skywalker rounded the corner with a determined look on his face. Anakin looked from Agen Kolar to Saesee Tiin to Kit Fisto, and he demanded to know what was going on. From behind the door, Anakin could hear the sounds of lightsabers clashing, and he could feel the currents of the Force swirling, light against dark. And so Kit Fisto told Anakin that Windu was going to subdue and arrest Palpatine. But to Anakin, the sounds of battle didn't sound like an arrest, it sounded like a fight to the death. So Anakin pushed by the Jedi, getting to the door, only for Agen Kolar to grab him with the Force and lightly throw Anakin backwards. Anakin couldn't believe it. The Jedi were stationed out here to stop him. And now Anakin remembered all of Palpatine's warnings about the Jedi. Over the last few days, Palpatine had expressed distrust in the Jedi Order and the Council itself. He put Anakin on the Council to see if his concerns were true, only for the Jedi to ask him to spy on the Chancellor. Of course, the Jedi were ultimately right about Palpatine, but Anakin's concern for Padme and the dark side of the Force swirling through the air were influencing Anakin's thoughts. Right now, he saw the Jedi as traitors, and so Anakin pulled out his lightsaber, igniting it, telling these three Jedi in front of him to move. But Fisto, Tiin, and Kolar were listening to Windu's orders. They were going to stop Anakin. So, they ignited their blades, and they warned Anakin not to do this. Let Windu take care of Sidious, and they can resolve everything together. They're going to arrest him. But through the doors, Anakin faintly heard Palpatine yell, "Anakin, help me, please!" And he was still dueling Windu inside of the room. The three Jedi told Anakin not to listen, but it was too late. Anakin ran at them, swinging towards the Jedi. His blue blade met theirs in a quick flurry of strikes, and Kit Fisto would strike back first, but Anakin deflected his blow with ease, spinning to catch Saesee Tiin's attack. A rapid sequence of strikes would ensue, with Anakin's movements fueled by a new surge of power. With a quick move, Anakin spun, disarming Fisto, sending the Nautolan saber spinning to the floor, as he kicked Fisto hard into the wall. Anakin swiftly turned back to deflect a strike from Kolar before elbowing him in the face, then countering Saesee Tiin's assault, pushing him to the wall before disarming Saesee with a slice through his blade, then throwing him down the stairs. Kolar was now the last one to stand against Anakin, and he charged back in, his blue saber cutting through the air. But Anakin was quicker. He sidestepped Kolar's attack, and after a series of blocked strikes, Anakin used a powerful Force push, sending Kolar hurtling backwards. The metal door where Sidious and Windu were fighting buckled and crumpled as Kolar crashed through it, and now Anakin could see inside of the office. He felt the dark side flowing through him, but he didn't kill any of the Jedi. And as he entered, Anakin saw Windu holding his blade above Palpatine. He swung downwards. Anakin screamed, "No!" before Windu sliced through Palpatine's wrists, then used the Force to knock him out. And Anakin fell to his knees, extremely relieved. Windu looked at Anakin with fury and yelled that he ordered Anakin to stay in the temple, and now look at what has happened. Part of Windu wanted to execute Palpatine in that moment, but with the other Jedi here, with Anakin here, he couldn't do it. He knew how it would look, and he knew how Anakin may react if he killed Palpatine. Anakin would have been fully gone. But Anakin now apologized as Sidious was still alive, and he realized now how much he just lost control. He told Windu that he couldn't just let Palpatine die. Kit Fisto and Saesee Tiin ran into the room now, and Anakin heard Fisto yell at Agen Kolar, who was not moving. Anakin just force pushed him through a metal door. He didn't want to kill him, but Fisto looked up in horror, and he said that Kolar is barely breathing. Windu, Saesee, and Fisto now knelt in front of Kolar. He was still alive, but he did not have long. And all three Jedi put their hands on Kolar's chest. They were pouring the light out of the Force into him. Anakin came over to help, but Windu pushed him away, telling Anakin he has done enough. And now Anakin stood in the back of the room, looking to Sidious, his wrists cuffed, his hands cut off. Anakin saw the damage in the room. It was insane. And then he looked to the Jedi, healing Agen Kolar from his injuries, and Anakin realized just how wrong he was about everything. Sidious promised that he could save Padme from certain death, yet here the Jedi were, demonstrating their power to truly help heal someone. And Anakin finally saw through the cloud of the dark side. Sidious was evil. He trained Dooku. He oversaw the attempt to assassinate Padme. He only thought about himself. And Anakin realized now that he was also only thinking of himself, just like a Sith. Padme would never want this, Anakin realized. So he looked over to the Jedi, praying for Aegon to be alright, and after another minute, his eyes opened and he began to cough. Anakin breathed with relief, and Anakin tried to apologize, saying that he let the darkness influence him, but the Jedi just told Anakin it's time to go, as Windu was now dragging Palpatine's body out of here for a trial. They would leave together in one shuttle, and Anakin felt extremely terrible about all of it. He just defeated 3 of the Jedi in this shuttle, and he badly injured Aegon Kolar. The tension in the air now was worse than when they traveled over here, even though they did just defeat Sidious. But what was going to come next was just as scary. And when they landed at the temple, Anakin waited for the other 3 Jedi to step out before turning to Windu and trying again to apologize. Windu told Anakin that they will discuss his actions in due time, but Anakin said he wants to help make up for it. Whatever he can do, he will do it, he told Windu. And the Jedi Master thought about this before concluding that it's better to keep Anakin busy until the trial. So he told Anakin that before he and Palpatine fought, Palpatine was speaking to him as if someone were listening in. It's possible that he recorded the conversation to make it seem like he's innocent. So, Windu would have Anakin go back to the office and see if he can find a recording of Palpatine before the duel. Anakin nodded, and he was thankful for this assignment, as it kept his mind from racing about everything. He would take his own speeder back to Palpatine's office, moving through large groups of senators that were confused about what was going on, and once inside, Anakin would begin searching all around the desk for a recording device. After a few minutes, Anakin found it, but when he tried to access the recording, the device told him that the recording was extracted a few minutes ago. Anakin settled the immediate panic that set in for him, and he ran out of the office, looking down the winding stairwell, and he saw a man wearing all red hurrying down the stairs. Anakin recognized him to be Sate Pestage, longtime advisor to Palpatine since his early Senate days. He was still doing Palpatine's dirty work, as he stole the recording and planned to transmit it to the Senate trial for Palpatine once the trial begins. But now Anakin began running down the stairs, jumping through level after level, until Pestage was back in his sights. Anakin decided to follow him as he got into his speeder, flying through the city, with Anakin now tailing him. Pestage flew towards 500 Republica, parking his speeder in the civilian hangar, as Anakin did the same. Anakin followed Pestage into the building, where he took a secret fire escape underground, then boarded a speeder in what seemed to be a well-kept underground tunnel of sorts. Anakin used his speed as a Jedi to follow this speeder as it moved through the tunnels, all the way to the hidden layer in the industrial sector. Palpatine had an underground layer here, where Geonosians, commando droids, and other Separatist members were kept to keep Sidious updated on the war. The underground room was filled with holotables to keep track of every planet and battle going on, and Sate Pestage soon entered the room. Anakin had an idea. It was risky, but it was his best shot at making up for what he did. And so, as Pestage was now speaking with the Separatists inside the room about their next steps, Anakin confidently entered the room, and he told everyone that things were going according to plan. They all looked at Anakin as he flicked on his comlink secretly, sending a signal to the Jedi Council. Windu would receive this, and immediately he realized he must record this conversation, and so he did. In the hidden layer, everyone would look at Anakin with confusion and hesitation, as Anakin said that he has ensured that the Jedi arrest Palpatine. Then he looked at Pestage and asked if he got the recording from his office. Anakin was pretending to be in on all of this, and Pestage was buying it. Everyone in Palpatine's inner circle knew that Anakin was part of the long-term plans, so Pestage said out loud into Anakin's comlink that he stole the recording from the office, and he plans to send it to the Senate trial. And Anakin decided to keep fishing for information. He asked Pestage how much the Senate knows, and Pestage said that everything is safe. The Jedi are the only ones that know of Palpatine's involvement with Dooku and the Separatists, and in time, his plans for the Empire will be complete. Windu smiled to himself in the council chambers. Anakin did it. They have everything they need to now convict Palpatine for his crimes. Anakin would spend a bit more time in here, getting even more information, before saying goodbye to Pestage, and that he looks forward to working with him soon. And Anakin would fly back to the temple, where Windu, Fisto, Kolar, and Tin were waiting to tell Anakin he has done well. Windu said he has informed everyone on the council that Palpatine has been arrested, and they have all the necessary information to convict him for life. This was good, and before long, Grandmaster Yoda and a few others would return to Coruscant. Obi-Wan was still on Utapau finishing up that battle, but he has defeated General Grievous and should be back soon. But for now, Yoda took Anakin aside and asked once more what has truly been troubling him. Yoda heard of what happened in Palpatine's office, and he wanted to know if Anakin's attacks on the Jedi had anything to do with his nightmares. Yoda was a lot more passive with Anakin the first time they talked, hoping to just remind Anakin that he needs to let go. But he saw now that Anakin needed much more than that. But Anakin would see now that the Jedi were able to help Padme much more than any Sith when they saved Ig and Kolar together, and Anakin was reminded of the light of the Jedi and the evil of the Sith. So now Anakin told Yoda he was alright, and he thanked Yoda for asking. The trial for Palpatine would happen within hours, and it would be truly historic. People around the galaxy watched, and everyone knew this would mark the end of the war, one way or another. The entirety of the Jedi Council was in session, as Obi-Wan has just returned from Utapau, and all of the senators were watching as well. Senator Padme Amidala was representing the Jedi, while Governor Tarkin was representing Palpatine. Tarkin would start by saying that the Jedi have been continuing this war for months. They claim to be keepers of the peace, yet they fight on the front lines, and the leader of the Separatists was a former Jedi himself. Tarkin went on for a while with solid reasoning, and he would then play the recording sent in from St. Pestage, where Palpatine pretended to be the one in danger. The Senate was in uproar, ready to blame the Jedi and free Palpatine, but then Padme Amidala stepped in, claiming she has evidence that will override what was just said. Deep under 500 Republica, in the secret Separatist base in the hidden industrial layer, St. Pestage and his allies looked at each other in confusion. What's going on? How could Padme have this? But then, suddenly clone troopers busted in the door, arresting all of them, and they realized they were played by Anakin. Padme would play the recording Anakin got, where Pestage claimed the prior recording was a setup, and everyone would hear the truth about Palpatine from his greatest advisor. He was revealed to be the Sith Lord working with Dooku to create this war. The recording that Pestage used was proven to be unusable, and the evidence against Palpatine was extremely substantial. There was no denying the truth, and in an overwhelming vote, Palpatine was convicted of the highest levels of treason. During all of this, Palpatine was kept unconscious by a gas that was non-lethal, and when the trial was over, Palpatine was placed inside of the Mandalorian vault that Maul was brought here in. Maul was now in custody thanks to Ahsoka, and when Palpatine finally woke up, he saw the horrible situation he was in. He lost everything, and he was stuck in this box until he was either executed for his crimes or somehow freed. He lost it all, and he knew deep down that Anakin Skywalker was responsible for this. But the war would soon come to an end, and the position of Chancellor would be filled by Ryo Chuchi as she ran on a way to bring this war to an end while keeping the veteran clone troopers employed and in service. She would be a very young Chancellor, but Mon Mothma and Bail Organa would be excellent aides for her. When Padme gave birth with the best doctors on Coruscant around her, Anakin would have Obi-Wan and Ahsoka be here with him, ready to heal Padme if need be. But she just survived, and she survived without any complications. Anakin saw for certain that Sidious was evil, and he would remain a Jedi while Padme remained a senator, but they would raise their twins together with intent for them to become Jedi in time. Anakin would not be made a master, and he understood why after the fight in Palpatine's office. He knew he wasn't yet ready, and he would take on a new Padawan named Katuni, training her to knighthood to become master, and after that, Leia and Luke would train under Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, who returned to the Order, while Anakin took a council seat, watching over the galaxy with Padme and their children for years to come. And folks, that is our story for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I kind of enjoyed the premise of just the Jedi all surviving, because most of these stories, right, have Kolar, Tin, and Fisto getting kind of cut down really right away. So I wanted to try one where they do survive. There's a plan with Windu just being like, I'm going to handle this. You idiots, just stay out here. Not really, but him just being like, you guys stay out here, handle Anakin. Because, Palpatine revealed himself to Anakin for a reason. You'd think the Jedi would be like, hey, maybe we should consider why he revealed himself to Anakin. Anakin's probably got a reasoning for that. Now, he's probably on the way over here right now. So I think they'd act, well, in this scenario, I think it makes sense for the way they acted and I think it makes sense for Anakin to come and be like, hey, traitors, you're trying to kill the Chancellor, I'm going to get you guys. But I don't think he'd kill the Jedi in that moment just because he doesn't have the reasoning or the proof or the full hatred yet. So, yeah, let me know what you guys thought. Appreciate you listening, and I'll see you in the next video.